This is your weekly podcast for Rocky's Rockin' Cruises and Adventures, bringing to you information about the greatest rock and roll cruises in the world. Hosted by Kathleen, Kane, and Rocky. I'm Kathleen Kane, and we are podcasting to you from Wiley Productions. I'm the general manager and also head of the podcast division. We've been having a great time with the series Rocky's Rockin' Cruises and Adventures, and this is episode 7 of Rockin the Caribbean. And of course, we have Rocky with us, founder and executive producer of the best rock and roll cruise on the planet, Rockin the Caribbean. Hey, Rocky, as I said, it's episode 7, so we have another special guest with us today.
Episode 7, moving right along, and our special guest today is Johnny Contardo from the group Sha Na Na. Now, you remember Johnny Contardo is that guy with that great voice and that gold lame outfit. All the Sha Na Na television shows and all the Sha Na Na television specials through the 70s into the early 80s. And also he was starred in the movie Grease with Sha Na Na, where he sang the song Magic Changes at the big scene at the hop.
Song, yes.
It's a great record.
Yes.
And he's our special guest today. So, hi, John, are you there?
Hey, Johnny, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
We're doing great.
Doing great, John.
Looking good.
Right. Nice to see you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
A little while since the cruise.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us on this week's episode. And I just want to say thank you for joining us a million times over, because I know you're busy cooking down there in Louisiana. And we're looking forward to eating some of that cooking someday, man. We're going to try to work on that on the Rocky's Rockin' Cruises and Adventures. The adventures part is what we got to work on, and maybe doing some cooking things in Italy we're going to talk about later.
Yeah, on land, not just sea.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. Well, Johnny, tell us a little bit about Sha Na Na, the show, what it was like to be in the Grease movie.
Wow, we're going back a ways now.
Yeah.
Well, I'll back up just a little bit. When I was in the musical Hair, I had a chance to go on Broadway with the show.
Right.
And the show was already established, but I wasn't considering myself a Broadway kind of a guy. At the time, I wanted to be a saloon singer.
So much better.
Yeah. But I was freaking out because when the show was closing, I didn't have a job, and reality had set in because we had the luxury of having a show for an entire year at the Wilbur Theater, selling out every night. It was absolutely fantastic. I got to play the lead role of Claude. Once my hair, my big afro, at the time, I'm almost bald now, but back then I had a huge afro, and then I started playing the lead role. And then, like I said, the show was closing, didn't have a job. And then I got 2 offers. I got an offer to go on Broadway with Hair, and then I got an offer to be in Sha Na Na. And I didn't even know who Sha Na Na was at the time. And a lot of people in the cast of Hair knew who they were. Mm-hmm. And every time I would mention Sha Na Na to them, they would light up. And I was like, what's going on here? Mm-hmm. Something I don't know. So long story short, I took the Sha Na Na route, and, and was with them for many, many years. And then we got the opportunity to do Grease.
Right.
And they actually, before the movie, they wanted us to go on Broadway with Grease and actually be in the show. And that we couldn't do that because we were doing one-nighters at the time, selling out 15, 20,000 people a night.
Wow.
Back when we were really hot and the TV show was hot. Mm-hmm. And we weren't going to give that up to be on Broadway. So we declined on that. And then, shortly after that, we got an opportunity to be in the movie. So in August, very, very hot in LA at the time, we shot the movie for 3 days. Mm-hmm. And, I never toot my own horn, but when I walked into the gym, Travolta was on the other end, and he walked.
That's awesome.
He walked all the way over to me.
Wow.
And he came up and he shook my hand and he said, Johnny, you really nailed it. And, teaching voice for many, many years, I know how hard that song is to sing. It's definitely the hardest song in the movie to sing. Mm-hmm. And Travolta knew that. Mm-hmm. And so he did compliment me on it. But then during the actual shooting of the movie, if you ever watch the movie, he's actually ridiculing me during my song.
Oh.
And it worked. It
Well,
worked.
you just have such a beautiful voice, and you
Thank
really
you.
do shine. You know, on the cruise, you know, Rockin' the Caribbean, there's a lot of acts, and everybody shines in their own way. But one of
Oh
the
yeah.
things, when you come out, you nail it for sure. It's just awesome.
Absolutely, yeah.
I appreciate that. Thank
It's
you.
it's one of my
Thank you.
favorite songs to play during the cruise. Magic Changes is
Oh,
just one of those
nice.
songs that, you know, I know a lot of people, and John Bowser says this too, that many people have sung. I consider you the only guy that really ever sang that song.
Oh, that's kind of you.
Because
Thanks.
your
Thank-
version of it, the way you sing it, your voicings and all, it makes the song, you know, it's a rock and roll tune, but you make it something else.
Right.
You know, it's almost
And
like,
I'm not afraid to say on camera, you know, a lot of people, I still have the highs. I sing fairly well
Sure.
for my age. You know, I'm a disciplined singer. I warm up every morning. I do 15 minutes of
Oh.
exercises. It's the way I've always done it. And but with that song, I came down on the key because there's no way I could sing that song the way I sang it back in the day,
hmm
with that kind of power in my 20s.
Oh.
And I tell people that when I teach them, I say to them, you know, they're always interested in how high can I go? How high can I go? And I always explain to them, you know, when you're singing at that moment, you sing where your voice is, and then you work on going higher. But you have to sing where you are at that moment in order to sing a song in the proper key. So
Right.
the, the key that you do the song in is the proper key for me at this age to the best of my ability.
right. Well, the best of your ability is pretty darn good,
I was
buddy.
just going to say that. It's awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So throughout the week on the cruise, on the Rockin' the Caribbean cruise, you know, we have so much fun. I know that you love spending the time with Bowser, your buddy, and
Yes.
you know, but all the other acts that join us too. It seems now that we've got kind of a recipe
Absolutely.
that works on the cruise, and we get a lot of people that come on every year. We get a lot of new folks that come on. We're going to be going out again, February 16th.
That's right. 8 days this time.
It's an
so-
8-day cruise out of
Yeah,
Port
longer.
Canaveral.
Sure.
And what are some of the things you like about Rockin' the Caribbean, John, that maybe besides just performing and having a great time on stage, but what are some of the other things you like about Rockin' the Caribbean?
Well, the funny thing about the last cruise was that a lot of people came up to me on the last cruise, and I would say 90% of them were basically saying to me, we see your food on Facebook."
Oh, see? That's what we were just
They
talking
said, "We
about.
love your voice, Johnny. We love your voice, Johnny. But those recipes, man, I'm hungry when I watch that stuff." So I got a lot of feedback on the cooking, you know. And I think what's really nice about the cruises is that I like when I'm able to just sit down with if I'm walking around the ship and I happen to see somebody, I'll just sit with them and we'll just talk, you know, just normally about life and about experiences, not just about the cruise, not just about the fact that we're having a lot of fun on the cruise and they're having a ball, we're having a ball, but we just talk about life as well. And I think that's kind of nice, you know,
Yeah.
getting the whole balance.
You know, we talked about that. We had Jay Siegel on last week, and he talked about that the cruise is not just all the artists and the camaraderie between everybody, but also the people that come on the cruise, all the folks that come on Rockin' the Caribbean. It seems like the artists and the folks all kind of just gel and talk about anything and everything and kind of leave all the worries of the world behind when we get on that ship.
Right.
And I think that's what Rockin' the Caribbean has become a little bit, besides all the great music and the great events we do, it's become this kind of family for a whole week where you can just sit down and relax, and you're not under a lot of pressure to, I got to go perform and I got to go do this, and you just kind of walk around and talk to folks, and like you said,
Right.
you know, they talk about, I know cooking's a passion of yours, and
Right.
it's kind of nice to be able to talk to people that see the stuff you put up on the internet with your dishes, and I think you're right
I'm
there.
going to have to check those out.
Yeah, definitely, you should.
I like to garden too. I'm a flower nut and a plant nut. I was out this morning barbecuing. I was in the garden for 2 hours. I'm really very blessed here. I have a beautiful backyard with
Oh,
this house that I'm in now. Other houses that I lived in, I always left this beautiful backyard to go to another house, and I'd be like,
Uh,
tears, like leaving all
oh,
that hard work and passion behind. When I got to this house, this is the first house I've ever lived in where the people that designed the backyard, they did it the right way. So when I got here, I didn't have to do, there's always maintenance to do, and you want to add your own touch to it. But it was so nice that they had done such a great job here. So
yeah.
I'm really grateful for that. So between the gardening and the cooking, and I ride my bike 8 miles a day, and I
Wow.
exercise and sing, and I teach voice, and I've got something nice happening too. I put a brand new website up. It's johnnycontardo.net, and that's where people can go to do video chats with me. They can buy gifts, merchandising, teaching voice, and this is the 45th year of Greece, so they're releasing it again,
Oh,
and which is nice. And the Pink Ladies, which is this new TV series that's on Paramount, they're doing something there. So I'm doing some interviews there to get that off the ground as well. So that's been kind of nice.
wow, so
so
it's busy. He's a busy guy.
yeah, so these are
Yeah,
a lot of
well, yeah,
things.
they put me. I just saw this morning. I'm in this, like, it's a fairly popular uh, outlet for rock and roll people, and the people that were helping me with my PR on the new site, they've got like Aerosmith in there, and Def Leppard, and all these other groups, and then there's a picture of me, and basically it's saying that I'm out there talking about the 45th year, the Pink Ladies. But it was kind of nice to be put in there with all these people that have new albums coming out. I mean, I don't have any album coming out. I was
Right.
just there to basically say I'm here to do interviews, to promote the Pink Ladies, to promote 45 years of Greece. So
Hmm.
that's been a very nice thing to do to keep myself busy.
Yeah, so we're happy that
And
you'll be able to get
I do
away from it
private
all.
events too. I do private events too. I do private
Okay.
parties. I'm doing one next month in Texas somewhere. I go to people's homes. They have private,
Wow.
they're doing something, and they want me to go there and sing, which is kind of nice. So I do that as well.
Yeah.
So it's all fun. I try to keep it going.
Yeah. Well, John, you were mentioning about Aerosmith and all that. Back in the 70s, Sha Na Na was you guys were rock stars, man. And you had a lot of
Yeah,
famous acts also that opened up your
right.
shows in concert arenas. Who were some of those acts?
Oh God, I mean they go on forever. I mean, like Aerosmith, I know the guys in Aerosmith because we're all from Boston,
Hmm.
but we did shows with them. We would, I mean, the acts that we did in the beginning were amazing because I was on the side of the stage watching Muddy Waters.
Wow.
I mean, can you
Wow.
imagine? I mean, just Richie Havens, people like that.
Hmm.
You know, Jim Croce. Oh, I was talking to Jim
Mm.
Croce 2 weeks before he passed.
Oh,
We were doing a show together in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and it's just the list of acts. There are just there's just so many of them, and there were so many. We had 96 guests on the TV show because we did the show for 4 years.
right.
So we had 96 shows plus a pilot. So we had 97 guests on the show as well. But those guests on the show were more oriented single artists. I mean, some were groups, Temptations and other
Yeah.
groups. But the opening acts that we had on our shows, I mean, the list, it's such a big list, but I can't name that many right now. But the funny thing about it was, back then we opened to a lot of big acts, and then eventually we became the headliner.
Sure.
Yeah.
And people like Billy Crystal. Billy Crystal was opening to us, and I can see it right now on stage. I'm on the side of the stage watching Billy Joel playing piano, opening for
Wow.
us.
Wow, that's so cool. That's
That's
amazing.
crazy. That Billy
Yes.
Joel opening for you. It's
You have
and
such
then
a,
we play places like Toronto, Maple Leaf
yeah.
Garden in front of 1,000 people with Mountain and Sha
Oh,
Na Na.
Mountain
We
and
did
Sha
that.
Na Na. That's an interesting bill.
What great
21,000
memories.
people. We
Yeah.
would do four encores, and they wouldn't let us off the stage. And then they would turn the lights on. You know what it's like when everything is dark for like an hour and a half, and then they turn the lights on in
Yeah.
a in an ice hockey ring. with 20,000 people and it's all bright, saying basically, get off the stage.
Well, you know, John, I mean, the 70s especially was the heart of when Sha Na Na was
Yeah,
at the
absolutely.
height of their
70s and a little
careers.
bit in the early 80s.
And you know, and I might get in trouble for saying this, but, you know, I always thought of you as really the lead singer of Sha Na Na. And I know there was a lot of
Thank
guys
you.
that sang leads, but you seem to be
Right.
that guy that stood out. Your voice, your
I appreciate
technique,
that.
you know, your stage presence, everything seemed to go to you. Especially, you know, with the gold lame on, I'm sure that brings back a lot
Right.
of fun memories for you. But, you know, the songs that you sang in Sha Na Na, to me, were the highlight songs. Okay, the songs
Right.
that, wow, listen to that guy sing. You know, the band's great, the backgrounds are great, but your voice,
Right.
to me, this is personally speaking, and I might get in some hot water for this, and I don't care, but I consider you the lead singer of Sha Na Na.
Oh, I can't thank you enough for that. You know, Bowser was our group leader.
Hmm.
There's no question about it. And but I always felt like, you know, I would always promote myself anytime I got a chance to,
And
you
you're
know,
still promoting
as,
yourself.
as the lead singer of Sha Na Na.
Okay.
Well,
You know, but thank you for
Yeah.
that.
you're
I
welcome.
do
And how
appreciate it.
many albums did you guys record? Do you have
Yeah.
any idea? There were so many.
Well, there's a funny story about that. We recorded so many albums, I don't know the answer to that, and let me tell you why. Because we used to say that the Buddha Records, they would put out all these albums, and we would always say, the new Sha Na Na album, never before in this order.
Oh,
Oh.
so they just swapped the songs around.
Yeah, Tell Laura and I Love Her, Teen Angel in the Still of the Night. Well, on this album, you get in Still of the Night, Teen Angel and Tell Laura I Love Her. Never before in this order.
That's great.
Yeah, we did about, I don't know, maybe 20 albums, I guess. I did 4 solo albums on my own, which was fun,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah,
But
and you know, talk about
we
that a little
were
bit.
lucky. We got
What was the
Go ahead.
time frame that you did those solo albums? When was that exactly?
Oh, they were I did one I did this album called Changeover when I was in Sha Na Na and Ballads for Lovers. And then I did Jazz Stew and another album when I left the group. And those were a lot of fun
Yeah,
because I got to pick my own stuff and it was a lot of fun.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, when we're on Rockin the Caribbean, the folks, you know, they get to hear these things all the time. You guys telling your stories, and I think that's a big part of the cruise too. Is
Yeah.
that, you know, you sit in the coffee shop or the pizza shop or whatever, or at dinner, and you sit and
Right.
chat to people, and you talk about all these stories. And I think that's one of the most wonderful parts for me to know that these things are going on because
Right.
I'm always at sound check and set up because you know we
Right.
perform
Get
pretty
those
much every
work
day.
things.
But it's nice to hear.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody the other day I was talking to somebody on the cruise because they mentioned when we played Carnegie Hall, you know, Keith Moon, you know, the drum, you're a great drummer. To me,
Thank you.
the greatest rock and roll drummer in history, for me anyway, is Keith.
Hmm.
And Keith used to follow us. He flew into New York to see us at Carnegie Hall. He would come on stage and do in a wedding dress.
Oh, jeez.
Came on stage in a wedding dress in Carnegie Hall and just tore it up, man. I mean, he
Wow.
tore it up. Him and I used to hang out together. We hung out at the Troubadour when we were in Belgium. Him and I went out together. And one night, Keith and I, you know, he loved our group, but I'm in awe of this guy because here I am with the drummer of the Who,
Yeah,
and him and
sure.
I were hanging out together. And you know, he slipped and fell down. He wasn't drunk or anything. And we were in Belgium one night, and he, I, I took his T-shirt and lifted it up on his back, and he had this huge bump on his back. And I
Oh.
said, I got to take him to the hospital, and he didn't want to go. And I was very, you know, adamant about it, and I took him to the hospital. And this is the kind of stuff that happens when you're on the road, you
Sure.
know. And
Well,
unfortunately, 6 months later, he was gone, you know,
oh,
in his early 30s. And to be
Wow.
such a great drummer, I mean, you know more about his drumming when you see him drum. doing all the passages and transitions. You know more about that than I do because you are a drummer.
Right.
But I've listened to drummers being interviewed about him, and sometimes they look and they can't understand the changes that he makes because they can't figure them out.
He
Maybe you know
was,
more about it.
back in the 70s when I listened to those Who albums, he was just a wild animal that they set free on a drum set. He never played like he never had a
No
hi-hat.
choice.
He never had a hi-hat and played a beat. He was constantly moving all over the drum set. And it really created a style and a sound for The Who that wasn't replicated by any drummers at that time. That's
that right?
It's really made him in a category almost all his own as a drummer. This is from one drummer thinking about him as his playing abilities. He just played fills and just, he was just a wild animal on the drum set, man,
Yeah, he was, and it's like you said, they just let him go. They had no choice. That was Keith's personality.
Yeah. But
Let him go.
the great thing about The Who, and I don't want to talk all about The Who, but the great thing about that band was not that they were just a great four-piece band, but John Entwistle on the bass just knew how to lay it down, and it let Keith just kind of breathe on the drums.
Yeah.
And, it created, like I said, it created a sound in the 70s that that's rock and roll, man. That was rock and roll.
I was always amazed at bands back then, bands that had completely different styles than us. What Hendrix could do on stage with two other guys, Oh, by the way, I just want to mention a real quick thing. I did an album in England back when I was like 21 years old called Headway, and it never got released until 2015. And Jimi Hendrix's drummer, Mitch Mitchell, played on the album with me.
Oh, that's great.
Cat Stevens, piano player, was on it. So I just wanted to throw that in there.
Oh, what fun.
I've always been amazed at like groups like The Who, like how four pieces can sound so incredible.
Yeah.
How Hendrix sounds so incredible with such, bands that are so small, but yet they have a tremendous sound.
Musicality, yeah.
Yeah, without the horns and without the lins and without any of that stuff. Just,
pure rock
ahead.
and roll, man. That's what it is.
Pure rock and roll, man. And just like you said, what Entwistle did on the bass and, what Townsend did on the guitar, and then Keith, and then Daltrey. I mean, my gosh. I mean, every one of them is like, one's just as good as the other, and they're all together.
Absolutely.
The Beatles, the Stones, it's just amazing stuff.
Yeah. Rockin the Caribbean has been something that I've been doing now for many, many, many years, and you've been a part of this for almost as long as I put this thing together. And I'm proud to say that you're my friend. I'm proud to know you as a fellow musician and look forward to performing with you. We don't just perform on Rockin the Caribbean. We do other shows around the country from time to time. And every time, John, it's just a pleasure to be able to sit behind the drums and listen to you sing and enjoy the camaraderie that we have. And we do have a lot in common. We do love to cook. Both of us love to do cooking.
Yes, you do, yeah.
And we're talking about...
Both paisans.
That's right, and and this will be in one of the podcasts later on. But I'm putting together a trip to Italy, a wine and food trip to Italy, that I think I would really like Johnny to be a part of that.
Wow, that'd be awesome.
And we're putting.
That sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
We're in the talking stages of that for next year.
Sure.
And just go and enjoy Italy for about 12 or 13 days, enjoying wine and food, and I was just thinking, John, maybe we should have a
food and wine pairings. That
Absolutely.
would be wonderful. I would look forward to that.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun. And I was thinking maybe we should do a little cooking show or something on the ship.
Oh,
Interesting.
wow.
Right here on the fly, making plans. I love it. Yeah.
I'll have to talk to Rural Caribbean, and maybe we can get one of the restaurants during the afternoon and get some ingredients, and we just put together a quick couple of things for people to try or whatever. And
Johnny's mouth is open. He's like,
That would be fun. I mean, no, you know what I'm thinking about? I'm thinking
You're
about
speechless.
No, I'm thinking of the logistics of Rocky having to try to pull this off.
Well, if anybody can do it, Rocky can do it, right?
I don't know if this is going to be in the whole thing, if you're going to edit this or not, and I'm not trying to pat you on the back, but I'm always amazed at what you do on the ship. I just can't believe all the all the stuff that you have to deal with constantly. You know, breaking down, setting up, dealing with the artists, dealing with people, dealing with the cruise line. I mean, it's a job I I respect you for it, but it's
Thank you.
something I would never want to do.
Well, thank you. Well, thank you, John. But you know, I really have a good crew behind me
Yeah.
on this too.
As
We
well
got-
as AAA.
AAA Travel does a great job.
Yeah.
You know,
You
we've
guys are great, and your addition sitting next to you here with this great voice.
Oh,
I've really
well, thank you,
I really
Johnny.
enjoyed listening to you on the cruise for the first time because I
Oh,
never
that
got a
means a
chance to.
lot coming from you. Thank you.
Yeah, very
agree
powerful voice.
100%, John. And she's going to actually get to do her show. This is My Life is the show that she does on the ship. We're going to get the lounge one afternoon when we're at sea, and Kathleen's going to do her show.
Yeah.
What's it called again?
This is My Life.
This is my life. Wonderful, great idea.
Yeah.
I look
thank
forward
you.
to that.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun
nice.
because she is a great singer, and
Absolutely.
we're glad to have her on Rockin' the Caribbean now.
And I'm
Yes.
very happy to be here. In great
Oh,
company,
good.
for sure. Yeah.
So we're looking forward to Rockin' the Caribbean this year. When's it go out again, Kathleen?
Okay, February 16th through the 24th. So we're getting an
Is it the
extra
18th?
day.
Is it 16th or the 18th?
16th.
16th to the 24th.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
February 16th through the
Wonderful.
24th on Adventure of the
And
Seas.
that's on Adventures of the Seas, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And is that out of Cape Canaveral? Where
Yes.
are we doing that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a slightly smaller ship than Wonder of the Seas,
Yeah.
so it'll be a little more intimate.
Yeah, I was on that ship. I was on that ship when we would go to Alaska. We'd be on.
Oh.
Yeah, we did Rockin' the Glaciers on Adventure of the Seas. That's correct.
Oh.
I like that ship.
Mm-hmm.
And the Freedom of the Seas is a nice ship too. It's kind of in the middle. It's bigger than Adventure, but not as big as those other ones. The other ones are great too.
Yeah, it
They
was
are.
fun.
But
It was
this
fun.
This will be nice and cozy. It'll be a nice change, quite honestly.
Yeah, I think so
I'm
too.
I'm looking forward to that. You know, it's just a nice change.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, well, thank you so much. We've been talking with Johnny Contardo from Sha Na Na, the movie Grease, and you're still we're having so much fun, and we can't wait to see you on the cruise.
And one
Okay, I
more
look for-
time, John. What's that website of yours again, so people can go to it?
It's johnnycontardo.net.
There you go. Easy.
Easy to remember.
Well, thank you so much for being with us here talking about Rockin' the Caribbean. We'll catch you next time.
My pleasure.
Thank you, my friend.
My
Bye,
pleasure.
Johnny.
Good health to you. Be well. I'll see you soon.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, John.
Bye.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Another great interview. And
That was, he's just, I love that guy.
yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
I can't say enough about him. He's just a wonderful person, a great singer, a great entertainer, and a really good friend. And we have so much in common when it comes to cooking and
Yes.
wine and stuff. So I'm looking forward to
Yeah.
putting this together with him, with the cooking shows and with
Wouldn't that
going
be
to Italy,
fun?
with,
Yeah.
you know,
He's a real go-getter. And also, we are so excited. We will be able to be with him on the cruise, February 16th through the 24th, Adventure of the Seas on Royal Caribbean. And of course, we have other original recording artists as well.
we got some great people joining us again next year, Kathleen. We have, of course, Johnny's cohort in Sha Na Na, Bowser. Yeah, Bowser will be with us once again. He's been he's been on all my cruises actually since I started
right.
doing them. And his group, the Stingrays, the three singers that'll be joining him and Johnny Contardo in the show, and they do a great job and a lot of fun. Gary Lewis and the Playboys will be joining us again on next year's cruise. We have Jay Siegel's Tokens. Jay was with us last week and singing The Lion Sleeps Tonight in the original key of F, like he did when he was 15.
That's right. Sounds awesome.
Peggy March will be on with us again, little Peggy March, singing I Will Follow Him and some other of her great records. And also Dennis Stefano, original lead singer of that powerful supergroup from the 60s, the Buckinghams.
Yeah.
Lala Brooks, the original lead singer of the Crystals. The do run, 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 the do run, run. Then He Kissed Me. I love that song too. Vito Piccone and the Elegants gives us kind of that 50s doo-wop flavor.
And
throughout the week.
humor. He
And
is so
humor.
funny, yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Also, Kathleen Kane.
That's right. I'll be there.
She'll be there singing, and just a wonderful show. She does a wonderful job. Rockin' the Rollers, my group Rockin' the Rollers will be all week, entertaining, of course, every day. It's not much of a cruise for me, but I have
Oh,
fun anyway.
you always have a great time. What are you talking about?
I know I do.
You have a great time.
And Al Brady will be joining us, our MC and DJ. He'll be doing some stuff, and it's going to be a lot of fun next year.
Okay, so how can we book it?
Got a book with AAA Travel. We'll put it up on the screen after this week's podcast. You'll be able to call them or go on their website and book directly. All that information will be up there in just a few moments. Don't forget, you can't call Royal Caribbean and book this cruise. Very important thing to remember.
Right.
Because we're a group coming on the ship, and we only bring a certain amount of people on the ship in our group. So if you call Royal Caribbean, you can book the cruise that week with Royal Caribbean, but you won't be part of Rockin the Caribbean.
Right.
You won't get into the shows, the dances, the special events, none of it. You'll be on a great cruise ship, but
You'll be sad.
and you'll be sad.
That's right. Well, we've had so much fun once again talking about Rockin the Caribbean, along with Rocky's Rockin' Cruises and Adventures. Next week, we're going to have a special guest, and that's going to be a surprise.
It's a surprise next week,
That's
so
right.
make sure you tune in.
All right. Rocky, thank you so much once again for being here with us. And just, again, all your great ideas, great shows, and your great friends performing for us.
You're welcome, Kathleen. Thank you so much, and keep tuning in, and don't forget to tell your friends all about it and learn about Rockin the Caribbean and everything with Rocky's Rockin' Cruises and Adventures.
Okay, we'll catch you next time. I'm Kathleen Kane with Wiley Productions, podcasting to you always and having a great time. We'll see you next time.